We left off starting off the third part of this book, the 9th chapter, with something really traumatic, actually. This book is fictional, but it is based off of real things that happen. And what had happened was, it seems like our protagonist associate, Pepe, had been found to be in a murder-suicide investigation, where he had taken his own life and the life of 5 girls, little girls that he had been taking care of because they had been abused by their families in India. But turned out that it was actually being framed by the village, and so it wasn't truly Pepe who had committed such a atrocity, but rather it seems to have been orchestrated by some evil organization called Gerhardt Industries that our protagonist has ties to, being having the CEO's son as a husband until he had passed away too. Anyway, our protagonist had lived a very challenging journey so far. Nonetheless, I hope this reading relaxes you and awakens your heart in other ways. So we're starting the 10th chapter today. I tried to remember the faces of the little girls whose names I learned only after they had been murdered. I had been indifferent to their fate. I'd been narrowly focused on Pepe's motivations in caring for them more than he cared about me. I had not paid attention. One moment. I just heard a Discord notification go off. I want to make sure that no more notifications are going to go off. There. It's late and I can't sleep. I rise, float down the stairs, and enter Pepe's room. I throw open the trunk of costumes and, laughing, try on the hideous mask of the angry goddess with a bloody tongue hanging down between sharp incisors. I don the unruly headdress of shiny black plastic curls and struggle into the blood-red sari sewn like a dress. I reach for the sword snug in its hiding place and remove it from its sheath. I swung it around in a figure 8 like a samurai warrior. It is surprisingly light. I place it back in its sheath. I wrap myself in a black cape with a hood that I find lodged in a corner of Pepe's wardrobe. The sword is in my right hand. The village is all black and quiet. Not even a dog's bark breaks the silence. I wander in. The headman's house is front and center, all marble and gold. A pretty garden, barely visible in the dull glow of a lamppost, surrounds it. The watchman is curled up on the footpath, sound asleep. I float past him and step into the house. I wander through stately rooms filled with grandiose furniture, and in the largest one I discover Raja sprawled on a heavily carved platform bed, a large woman at his side. Both are making dreadful gurgling sounds, synchronously. I smile at this and unsheath the sword and swing it in a wide circle. It comes down on Raja's thick neck, slicing it through and through, effortlessly, not unlike slicing a slab of cheese. A spurt of blood hits me in the face and across my chest. The grotesque head rolls onto the floor with a soft thud. The large woman at his side continues her gurgling, unaware. The bedding is soaked in blood. I go in search of the others. I shook myself awake. Only a nightmare. A horrific, violent nightmare. I washed my face, dressed and made tea, the nightmare holding on. A foul residue. I climbed the ladder to the roof, the mug of tea in one hand. The canvas deck chairs were where Pepe and I had left them. I had the morning to myself. Later, Sister Mary and I would inventory the shipment that had arrived the day before. Pepe and I used to bet on what a shipment contained, depending on the country of origin. Invariably, potted meat from England, wieners from Poland, powdered milk and corn, from the US, and pharmaceuticals from Germany. You'll never guess what happened, Madame. Sister Mary had made it up to the roof, panting and flushed. You will never guess. Murderers. Throat slashed. 5 men, blood everywhere, she said breathlessly. I stared at her. She went on. Village headman, his 2 brothers, and his 2 sons completely slaughtered, struck down and chopped to pieces. Who could have done this? Do they know? I sputtered, barely able to get the words out. Oh, yes, farmers from the next village. But Madame, these farmers, they swear Durga Ma made them do this. Who? Durga Ma, angry goddess with 10 arms carrying weapons. What these people will think of next. The goddess with red eyes and bloody tongue hanging out? I asked. That one, she said. You must have seen pictures. Durga Ma did it for revenge, they said. Revenge? For what? I asked. When the goddess is angry, they have to follow, they said. No questions asked. Such nonsense. Water and land, only for that people kill, not for Durga Ma. I dismissed her, complaining of a headache, then ran down to Pepe's room and flung open the trunk. The ghoulish paper mache mask and the red sari were where I had left them. No splashes of blood. I gingerly unsheathed the sword, also sparkling and clean. I had dreamt of something that had taken place simultaneously. Unimaginable, but a coincidence. A coincidence. I lifted the mask from the trunk and threw it on the floor. I used the sword to smash it to pieces. I cut up the sari. In the yard, I stuffed the mask and sari debris into a steel drum and piled a stack of old newspapers on it. I looked up. Good Sister Mary was hurrying toward me. Sister Mary, I waved. How nice that you came back. I need your help. I cleared out some old papers. I need to get rid of them. I am bringing headache medicine, Madame, she said. We rolled the drum to the unkempt cemetery with its scattering of weathered gravestones. I emptied a can of kerosene oil over the contents of the drum and lit a match. I stared at the flame shooting up, remembering the times Pepe and I had done this in this exact spot. You can go, Sister Mary, I said. Thank you for the aspirin. I'll make sure this fire is out. I stared into the fire. Oh, fire, like a boat on a river, take us across, let our sins depart from us. I returned to the warehouse, packed the sword in a box and stuck on a label addressed to the monastery in a small, poor country from where it had been stolen. Pepe once related the wretched story of how during a feast day the sword had been carelessly left on the altar table. The thief, from whom Pepe had purchased it, was able to walk away with it hidden in his coat. I was certain that when the package reached the monastery, the miracle of the sudden recovery of their relic would be announced, special prayers of gratitude said, and they would look no further. 2 days later, I ran. That's the end of the 10th chapter, but not the end of our reading, as there's another level of this story that takes place at the level of gods and demons. Here is the story taking place from the demon's perspective. The Gerhardt Industries New Year's Eve party was in progress. Glasses tinkled. Champagne flowed, artful fireworks decorated the sky. Herr Gerhardt, archdemon, presided over the head table. On his left was his wife, the fifth Frau Gerhardt, a plump blonde Fraulein with a round face, beady blue eyes and thick blonde braids across her head, a character out of Grimm's fairy tales. A skeletal creature in a sequined gown with a drooping neckline and a slit up the side sashayed her way over and planted a chaste peck on Gerhardt's cheek. His pudgy, sweaty palm found the slit in the silvery sheath and made its way up the thigh. I'm not sure if I should read what happens next. It's definitely kind of harassment, and I don't want to trigger anyone without warning. The Fraulein did not notice, and she seemed anesthetized. I'm not sure what's worse. What happened a sentence before that, or my inability to pronounce that word. Now, definitely sexual harassment is worse than my mispronunciation. Jonas, one of the sons of the CEO of this company, and the brother of our protagonist's late husband, heir apparent and pedophile, took it all in with the dead glassy stare of a Nazi guard at a concentration camp. "I'll find her," he said to his father, "even if she's escaped to America. I'll find her. She cannot escape." "She is getting strong," Gerhardt seethed. "She's waking up. Doing away with Raja and his henchmen has set us back." "I'll get 5 Rajas," Jonas said, suddenly fearful. "Plenty more where that stink comes from. He is no big loss." It was a minute before midnight, and the countdown had begun to the blasts of party horns, cheering and whooping. "You find her," Gerhardt banged a fist on the table. "Now!" 5 seconds to the new year. Black and gold confetti wafted down from the ceiling. Fireworks shot into the skies, and Auld Lang Syne was raucously belted out. In the flickering light, Jonas caught a glimpse. His father turned demoniac. The Fraulein stared ahead, unblinking. That's the end of our reading. This book certainly has its dark parts, and fortunately, there is much more in the chapters coming for us to be led to resolution, and our dear protagonist awakened to her true self as the mother of the universe. I hope these dark passages do not alarm you, and if there are any parts that do, you could let me know, and I'll happily provide space to talk about some of these themes. But I think it's good that such a raw book authentically describes things that genuinely do happen in the world, and how these things are attended to is an important discussion, always. Nonetheless, I can be more careful with some trigger warnings, for example. But thank you all for listening, and I look forward to continuing where we leave off now next time.